Hello, everyone. Welcome to the APH Virtual Excel Academy. This is Robin Clark, who's usually behind the scenes, but for this session, I get to be up front and host you. Welcome to College Prep, how to make a good college match. Come on in, open up your chat, make sure it is set to everyone. This way everybody can see your answers. I already see Donnie in the chat saying hello. Go on in, say hello yourself. Excited to see everybody who's here. Now, without further ado, I am turning our time over to today's instructor. Everybody meet Leslie Thatcher. Take it away, Leslie.
Hello, everyone. Good evening or afternoon, depending on where you are calling in from. My name is Leslie Thatcher, and I am the person who's going to work with you guys tonight. So I'm delighted you're here. I am a middle-aged white woman with shoulder-length brown hair, and I have a blue and white striped shirt on and a navy blue jacket on top of it. I am happy to be here. I love thinking about how to support all of you on this call with how to think about your future, how to think about your next steps. And we're going to get into it very quickly here today because there's a lot of turf to cover. I hope you all have some note paper or whatever tool you use to take your notes, because we're going to cover a lot of turf. Eventually, you'll get a lot of this material via your email. But for tonight, we have an accompanying PowerPoint that I'm going to start sharing right now because we need to get going on the material. So give me just a moment to get that shared and to start my slideshow. All right. So today is college prep and how to make a good college match. And we have a little bit of housekeeping that I want to cover before we get to the heart of the matter here. Some of these things have to do with just making this session work for all of us, make sure that we have the same understanding and assumptions about how to communicate with each other, how to stay engaged in something online late in the day, and so on. So I'm going to go through a quick punch list of things to cover. As time goes on, though, I'm really going to ask you all to participate via the chat, or if I am coordinated enough, by unmuting yourself and contributing verbally. So without further ado, I'll give you a little piece of who I am and why I'm here. I have been working with students like you for over 30 years, and I currently direct the College Success Program at Perkins School for the Blind. That includes something called Compass, which is a college readiness program that I run and I'm a coach in. So I think about this stuff a lot. I've also been an associate dean of admissions. I've been a freshman class dean. I've been a learning specialist. I've done a lot of different things. So I've taught classes, and so I've seen a lot of different parts of what school is like, some of the bumps in the road students encounter, some of the areas where students have a great deal of success. And I love helping support students figure out how to be their best self. So I know that Robin often talks about ESP, and can anyone type in the chat what ESP stands for? I'm looking, ooh, I see some chat notes. Hold on. Let's see. Got a lot of highs. I don't see any ESP insights. Anyone? Okay, energy, smile, and personality. So tonight I want to begin to hear your sparkly personalities. For those of you who would like to contribute, that would be great. That way we can begin to get to know each other. So moving on, a couple other things to focus on. One of the reasons that participating is important is it helps you kind of make sense of some of the information coming into you. There's going to be a lot tonight. I'm not going to lie. This is a big topic. But it also might help some of the other participants, both in this session tonight and once you might view this in another video in the webinar platform. It may help them think about things maybe they hadn't thought of, but you might have insight on. So it's sharing all around, both within this group tonight and with possibly a broader audience. And I think that's kind of one of the things I really appreciate about our virtual setup here. So let's see, a couple of other things. Okay, my learning objectives. That means I can scoot to my next slide. Oops, let me get into the right thing. All right, so right now we've got rules, protocols, and procedures. We've gone through that. We're going to go through learning objectives. And I want you all to begin to think about what brought you here tonight. Okay, so tonight what brought me here is a great long-standing conversation with Robin about this exact topic and how we can support students to think about good college match. I'll explain a little bit more about that soon. But some other more official things that I'm trying to achieve in this 3-part series is to help you all learn about what today's college environment looks like. It's more complicated than you might think. I want you to begin to understand what the demands of college look like and why they might feel different than the demands you might be experiencing right now in high school. And I want to help you think through how your current actual skills, not what you think you can do, but what you really can do, how that matches up with what college is expecting of you. I want you to understand more about how to conduct a college search. It's a really cool process if you're thoughtful about it. And I'm pretty sure if you're here today, you have the ability to conduct a thoughtful college search with a little bit of structure. And that's part of what this series might help you to have. And finally, I want you to think, as we think about all these other things, about what college is and what college is not. And hopefully by the end of it, you'll have a better ability to answer, why do I want to go to college? Or what are you going to do after high school? Because it's kind of a tough question for a lot of us. And being prepared with some more information and some more thoughtful answers can sometimes help you think with a broader range of possibility. And I like that idea. So these are some of my goals. If you feel comfortable adding some of your goals into the chat, I would love to give you a couple of moments right now to add 1 or 2 goals. Robin has made some suggestions. Yep, and there's an extension activity where you can apply skills. So right now, this is one of those interactive activities, Samarth, that I'd love to get a comment from you on. Is there something that you think of that is one of your goals today? You can answer that in the chat, or if you raise your hand, I may be able to see that. Don't see your hand raised right now. Being successful. I love that. Thank you, Sarah. I can think of some other ideas. Let's see. Some people talk about being here. I see Houston's hand. Let's see.
Yep, Houston's hand is up. I'm giving him permission to talk. So go ahead and unmute and answer our question.
Thank you, Huston. Are you there? Thank you, Samarth. I see yours. And Huston.
There it is. I couldn't find the unmute button.
Oh, good.
It's
What's in your mind?
Houston, actually.
Houston? Okay, thank you.
Hold on. Yeah, I think one of my goals would probably be just to, I guess, learn how to be more independent. I guess you could say, as someone who has been visually impaired since birth. I think it's important to learn how to be more independent.
Okay, great. I hear that a lot for sure, and we can start to unpack what that might mean. We've got a couple of things that might help you think through some of that, especially in our next session for sure. Thank you so much. And
we also have a hand up from Donnie.
All right,
Donnie, go ahead.
That's my goal.
What was
That's
that,
my
Jackie?
goal.
Oh, that's your goal too? Great.
Awesome. I see Carlo posted about being positive in life. Samar posted about being learn as much as possible about college readiness. Alexis notes making progress on daily living skills. These are great answers, and they really highlight something that I want you all to think about, is that there's a broad range of skills that are required for college readiness, to be able to launch out and do things as independently as possible. I am noticing no one's talking about academic skills like reading or writing papers or doing math, but those are parts of college skills as well. So we've got a lot of different categories of skills that we need to think through as we consider, are we ready for college? One of the reasons the program I run exists is because we've learned that students who aspire to attend college with a visual impairment are at greater risk of not graduating from college. And part of this initiative here is to help give you more information so you can make better informed decisions about how to get ready to meet your goals. And so one of the things, Donnie, I see your comment, how does college get large print books? I will address that in a little bit. And Faith, I agree, vision impairment makes it very difficult to be independent. There's a lot more things you have to learn to become more independent with visual impairment. Oh my gosh, you guys have all sorts of things. Okay, I love this comment in the chat. So what I'm going to do is try and keep us focused on moving through the material, and I'm going to try and integrate your comments in the chat. So keep them coming because it helps me understand what you're thinking about. But I'm going to move on to covering the material, if that works for you guys, and making sure that I am literally keeping up with my timeline here, because I have a lot to cover. Okay, so the next thing I want us to think about is one of my favorite things as a teacher. And these are essential questions I want you to carry with you through this series. To think about as you hear me talking or your peers talking in this class. I want you to think about these essential or core questions that can help kind of frame how you think about some of these challenges. Where am I now? I'm in 11th grade at my local public school. I'm at my state school for the blind. I'm in between my senior year of high school and a possible freshman year of college, and so on. Where do I want to be? I want to be gainfully employed. I would like to work with small children. I would like to design rocket ships. I would like to work with whales and octopuses at Marine World. I would like to be a meteorologist. Whatever any of those things are, and a million things in between, what are those things that you're thinking about? The next thing is, how will I get there? That's a little bit about what we're talking about tonight. College is one of the pathways that exists to help you get to your future goals. And then we need to think, and you may not be quite used to thinking about it at this level if you have adults in your life helping organize your life, is what resources do I need to achieve these goals? How will I get there? What resources do I need to get there? So both the material resources, like things like money, and things like skills as well. So there's a lot of different layers here to think about, but as several of you have mentioned, independence, a lot of these things will become increasingly your responsibility as you get older and graduate from high school. And the sort of responsibility to take action is yours and not the adults in your life. That's a huge leap for some students who may not have had a lot of opportunity to test that independence. And again, that's why we're here today, to give you information to make thoughtful, better informed decisions. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to take a look at some of the additional comments. Okay. And we will talk about disability service offices tonight, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail in our second session, just so that you know. All right, and I know someone raised their hand. Let's see if I can see that.
It is Linda. I have given Linda permission to talk. Go ahead, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
Go ahead and hit spacebar to help you unmute.
See your raised hand.
Okay, we'll give you another second and then we'll move. Oh, we'll move on. Oh, her hand is down. Okay, go ahead, Leslie. Back to you, Leslie.
All right. And Linda, if you want, you can type your question in the chat too, and I'll try and get to it, okay? So we're going to dive. Prepare yourselves now. If you have your note-taking tool around you, time to pull it out. What I'm going to spend the first part of this session doing is introducing some basic concepts about college. And because we're going to ask you, well, why do you want to go to college in just a few moments? And so I want to lay out some basic ideas to you all so that we are talking the same language. All right. So we know in society that there's a lot of talk about college, and we know that we are often asked, well, what do you want to do after high school? And often the easy answer is, well, I'm going to go to college. Sometimes that's a great thing, and sometimes that's just a knee-jerk reaction that you don't know what else to say, and people get excited when you say you want to go to college. I can imagine some of you may have had that experience. What we know, though, what data shows us and research shows us, is that across all sectors in the United States, that individuals who do attend college tend to make more money over the course of their lifetime than those who do not attend college. That's not a categorical, always exactly true statement, but in general, earnings tend to be about $25,000 a year higher than those who are high school graduates only. Many jobs out there require a college degree, not all by any stretch, but ones that tend to have higher income earning potential. So when I think about your future and dreams you may have, a lot of the way I think about it is creating options. That's not to say that college is the only answer to achieve a successful independent life, or one that meets whatever definition of that you have. But this is some of the data about why you might feel some pressure or some thought that college might be a good next step. Some other things to consider. College is often, as I mentioned, a prerequisite for some jobs. That means that some jobs require that you have a college degree in order to be considered for that job. Again, not all jobs, but this slide describes that among adults between the ages of 25 and 64, and y'all are not that far away from age 25, the employment rate for adults in this big, huge, broad age category is 69% of high school graduates aged 25 through 64 were employed. 73% of those with some college but no degree. 78% for individuals with associate's degrees. So 78% of individuals with associate's degrees had a job, and 83% of holders for a four-year degree had employment. So that's a big, big gap. That's, gosh, 14+ percent points. So you can see that it increases the odds that you're going to be employed if you have a college degree. There are many reasons for that. Your ability to persist, to continue to regularly make obligations, things like that are suggested as reasons why those with college degrees are also employed at a higher rate. But that is not the only reason. Another statistic that I have listed on this particular slide is an important one that I will talk about every session. And that is the average student loan. That is the college loan for students graduating, in this case, from the class of 2019 from college. The average loans that they took out to complete their college degree was $30,000. That's on the low side for many students I know who can have loans up to $100,000 and more if they're not very careful and thoughtful about how they manage the costs of attending college. One of the things we'll talk about in a couple of sessions is how to think through some of those things so it's not quite as scary and is a thoughtful investment in your future and your skill development. But it's a real issue because if you drop out of college without a degree and you have loans, it may be more difficult to pay them back. And I'm always really mindful of making sure students are well prepared to meet that type of adult level expectation. So I'm going to pause there briefly. Any questions at this point, you can either raise your hand or type them in the chat. I see 2 chat questions. Hold on here. Are there requirements to go to college? Great question, Carlo, and I will address that in just a few moments. And Donnie, if I wanted to work at the division for the DVI, do they need proof of a college degree? Donnie, that's going to depend on the job and the requirements for the job. So you would look at the job description and see what it says. In Houston, yep, she's unmuted you. I think if you unmute, you can speak right now, Houston. Are you there?
There it is.
There you go. Hello again.
Can figure it out. So, I mean, I always thought that, I mean, it all depends on like what college you go to. Like, I know there are some colleges that are like harder to get into than others. Like, because probably is that because of like the requirements that they have that like let's say you wanted to go to somewhere like, I don't know, like OSU versus like, let's say you want to go to like Harvard. That would be like I think those would be colleges that are hard to get into.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. It's complicated, Houston, is all I can say. I could talk about that for a whole hour. But you'll know when we get there and listen to what I say and then ask more questions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's a great point. And Samarth notes, can you go into the field of accessibility? Do you need a college degree? Again, it depends on the type of job and what you're trying to do within the field of accessibility. I know there's high demand in that field right now. So I'm pretty sure you'd have a job if you are a good teacher and good at doing the types of things accessibility needs, but there's lots of different types of jobs even within that field. So we would need to see what your skills are, what you enjoy doing, and begin to make that match, just like we do about colleges. So great question. Okay, next slide. All right. So we talked about some of the financial benefits and sort of opportunities for independence because you're earning enough money to be more independent. But there are also soft benefits about college that are worth thinking about and being aware of as you think about, well, why do I want to do this? Do I really love studying? Is that all it's about? And it's not necessarily what it's all about. There are other things that people get out of college. And when we talk about different types of college programs, you'll understand why those are emerging now. It's a new trend in colleges that you may not have known about. There's things like social capital. Do you think, is anyone out there able to define what social capital is, or take a guess even at what social capital is? Houston, I'll give you a chance here. Are you there?
There it is. I have to find
There
a
you
button.
Okay.
I'm gonna
So-
guess and say that social capital is like, because capital usually involves money. So maybe like getting paid for like how much you get paid. I'm gonna guess versus like what your coworkers would get paid, maybe.
I love that you're taking context clues and guessing. So yeah, you're close. So capital, I think of as almost assets. And social would be social assets or the network you develop, right? That you would develop from your
Oh.
friends and your classmates in college. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were right on track for that. Cultural capital is similar. You get exposed to a broad and varied range of people and ideas when you attend a college with a whole lot more people than you may have in your high school, and learn about different cultural mores and things like that. Skill development is another one. Learning increasingly as you gain maturity, increasingly complex skills, including more complex collaboration, project management, the skills that may be derived from a particular major, like think about a finance major. That's things I don't know about, but I do know about history because that's what I majored in, and education because that's what I studied as well. And so on. So skill development can also come from extracurricular activities that are often a major source for people about finding ways to connect things they major in with things they love to do and to eventually get real world experience to get a job, like in accessibility that Samarth is looking at. So habits of the mind, that is college talk for learning how to think critically, learning how to think analytically, and learning how to ask more and more complex questions so that you can solve increasingly complex problems. That's part of the dynamic of college. It's not just about memorizing things. And so learning those habits of the mind are things that you can then bring to your job, career, family, community, and so on. And finally, intellectual discipline is sort of the next door neighbor of habits of the mind, that ability to think with increasingly complex critical theories and so on that allow you to find innovative solutions to challenges, integrate new ideas, and create new things as you go out into the world. So those are some of the soft benefits of college that you may not have thought of, but can really serve you long term as you think about those initial essential questions that we talked about. You know, where do I want to be in the world? What do I want my life to look like? So, all right. Moving on, let me check my timeline. We are good. Okay. The next question is, the next slide is all about, given all of this stuff that we just talked about, why do you really want to go to college? I alluded to one thing we see a lot, which is, well, I don't know what else to do after high school, so everybody seems to go to college, so I'm going to do that. If there's anyone in our audience who may have experienced that feeling, you could type yes in the chat right now. Or your other idea about why do you want to go to college? I see to get a job. And I'll give you a couple of seconds. I'll give you about 30 seconds to think and type. Get a job. Some people talk about to meet new people, to learn new things, to address their inner curiosity, to refine your professional skills, to make friends. A group of the Bridges students say to make friends, to learn more skills about technology, more skills for a future career. Yeah. To gain some independence and get away from home. I want to be qualified for the job I get. Okay. So it sounds like a lot of you, what I'm hearing is you're looking to enhance the skills you currently have, you're looking to grow. Some are looking to earn money and a higher salary, like some of our data tells us, right? College also requires hard work, skills you may or may not have already acquired, and it's very different from high school. And we're going to begin to talk about that now. So see, I want to be a doctor so you can help people like you. Awesome. To get more education if you're someone who wants to be a teacher or something like that. Absolutely, all of those things. So it's looking to enhance your possibilities to get a career that is aligned with your skills and interest, leadership potential, and so on. And to meet some of these dreams that you have of helping people. I love that. Okay. The key here, like I just said, was we can have those aspirations, but they have to be matched with the desire to work hard in a college setting that's appropriate for you. So to
hi Leslie, sorry, I just gave Samar had her hand up.
Oh, I missed that.
I gave her permission. So Samar, go ahead if you had a question.
He had a type of text.
Going once?
Type of text.
Going twice? Samarth?
Are you there?
Okay, it looks like she's muted back up. So go ahead, back to you, Leslie.
All righty, thank you very much. All right. Okay, so so the key with college and what we're going to focus on today, now that we've kind of laid some basic groundwork, is college match and why this is important. Because not all of us can be Harvard types, and we'll get into the unique thing that Harvard is. But you also need to think about colleges that are going to meet your type of curiosity, your academic skills, your possible intended major. You don't want to go to a college that doesn't have something you're interested in studying. And we can also consider things like the layout, transportation options of a college, the experience of a disability service office, working with students with vision loss, which is not your top thing to think about, but it's definitely something to be prepared to investigate. And there's a whole lot of other characteristics. So we're going to unpack this a little bit more now. And the first thing we need to do is introduce you to the range of colleges and programs out there right now. College isn't one single thing. It's many, many different kinds of experiences. And for us to think about college match, the first thing we have to do is figure out, well, what's out there anyhow? It's not just one single thing. So what we're going to do is unpack very quickly a broad range of types of colleges first, so that we have some shared language to talk about things with. And I'm checking the chat to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so types of colleges. There are things like community colleges, tribal colleges, four-year colleges, which we'll unpack in just a minute. Comprehensive universities, special programs, online programs, and hybrid programs, which are a blend of online and in-person. So you can see just right there with this long list of, I don't know, 6 or 7 different types of college experiences, that it's helpful to know what's out there. So the first thing I want to think about is community colleges. Community colleges are often in your backyard. Even if you're living in a pretty rural area, a major town near you may have something like a community college. They're public colleges. They're designed to help students transition from high school to college, from work to a college environment. They're often designed to also help you if you want to pursue a more advanced degree, transfer easily. Community colleges provide what's called an associate's degree. It is a degree that represents about 2 years of full-time academic work. And it is sort of the first level of degree in the orbit of degrees that go from associates to a bachelor's degree, which is a 4-year degree, to a master's degree, which could be anywhere from 1 to 3 years after high school, after college, and then a PhD or doctoral level degree. So each one of those are a certain amount of college classes that you would need to take or credits, and the community college is a foundation of that. What I love about community colleges, and there's a lot to love about community colleges, is that they are accessible to a wide range of students with a wide range of academic backgrounds. That's the accessible I'm talking about in this context. They may have a range of experience working with students with vision loss, but we'll talk about that issue in a moment. Right now, I'm giving you a basic primer on colleges in general, so you can make an informed decision. Community colleges offer things like certificate programs where you don't have to do the whole everything to get a full degree. And you can also get participate in things like training programs for very specific, like managing toxic waste, things like that. So they're very basic, usually very short-term, 1 or 2 month long programs. They often have a lot of experience working with students who are English language learners. So they're very experienced in providing a broad range of supports for students who are coming into higher education with limited experience understanding what the demands of higher education are. So one of my notes here is that they're excellent for excellent entry points for people with little or a negative experience in education beforehand, or who want to try college on for size. They're also less expensive, which is a real pro. They also provide remediation courses to help support students who have not gotten adequate background in math and writing, and sometimes critical reading skills. So it helps you bolster some skills that you may not have acquired in the high school experience. And you are not alone. I think over 50% of students who attempt college are enrolled in some kind of remedial courses, sometimes in math, sometimes in writing. The word remedial can have a negative connotation to it, but in this case, these are courses that are working to build skills that you had not gotten in high school. There's a downside to that. You don't get credit for these courses, but they often help build your skills to then move into the credit-bearing courses that will move you to complete your degree. Finally, as I mentioned before, there are often these community colleges paired with local four-year colleges and universities to then transfer very easily, if you're part of really well-designed programs, to transfer easily to get your four-year degree very efficiently and get a bachelor's and so on. So it's terrific. So you can see I'm a big fan of community colleges, and I think they're a great spot to start. When I talk about 2- and 4-year degrees, whose question was that? Houston's. Yes, there are. Most students take about 5 to 6 years to get through a bachelor's degree. Nationally, that tends to be the standard nowadays. So when I'm using 4-year degree, it is just sort of code for a bachelor's degree. So,
Hey, Leslie.
yeah.
This is Robin. We have 2 hands that are up, one from Isabel and another one from Samarth. So I'm going to give Isabel permission. Isabel, go ahead and ask your question.
Audio now unmuted.
So, what are basically tribal colleges?
That's a great question. They're colleges that are designed to support individuals who are living on various reservations throughout the country that are, in some cases, able to run their own entire sort of social communal structure that allows them to support students who are attempting to get their college degree, but that are sensitive to the unique needs of different tribal affiliations.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thanks, Isabel. And then we have another
Yeah.
question from Samarth. So Samarth, let's give it a go.
Hello.
Hi, Samarth.
Yeah, you mentioned PhD, and I had a question about that.
Okay.
So, like when you get a PhD, you have to submit a research paper, right?
Oh, yes. In many, it's called a thesis.
Yeah. So, does that like research paper or thesis have to be related to the field that you're trying to get a PhD in?
Yes, I will say in broad terms, yes, it very much does. But that was something that you would work through with your PhD advisor and committee. It's a whole process. But
Okay.
right. But so if you're thinking about getting a PhD, you have some time to think about what you want to study. Let's work on getting into college first. What do you think?
Okay. I know. It was just a question that came up when you mentioned it.
Yeah. Okay. So another type of college out there is four-year colleges and universities. These are ones that grant bachelor's degrees, and in some cases at larger colleges, master's degrees and PhDs, like Samarth asked about. And I gave you a broad range of colleges that fit each one of these categories. There's reasons to understand the difference between these. State colleges and universities are things like the University of Delaware, hello, Donnie, places like the University of California in Los Angeles, UCLA, that you may know from sports or some other reason. But there's also names like Cal State Long Beach. I don't know why I was focused on California when I came up with these examples. In Massachusetts, it might be something like UMass Lowell versus Westfield State. And there's a whole long reason why there's all these different kinds of state colleges, but these are colleges that are, if you're in state, a more cost-effective and often excellent way to get a bachelor's degree and beyond as an in-state resident. In-state residents at state colleges can attend that school at a lower cost than out-of-state residents. And so there's real benefit to looking at your in-state colleges as you begin to create and think about a good college match, because it's cost effective. They're often excellent schools. And so a good bang for your buck, as the saying goes. Liberal arts colleges are another kind. These are often four-year colleges that offer, in some cases, more advanced degrees, but they tend to be a little smaller. UCLA, as an example of a state college, probably has 40,000 plus people attending all levels of their college, with probably 5, 6, 7,000 in a freshman class at UCLA. So that's a big college. A liberal arts college like Lewis and Clark College, which is my alma mater, and Haben Girma's alma mater, I might say, if any of you know who Haben Girma is. Lewis and Clark is a liberal arts college. Beloit College, Pomona College, those are all liberal arts colleges. These are colleges that believe in the value of studying a broad range of things. You would get a master's, but a major in a particular area like business or history or women's studies or whatever. But you also have to take about a third of your courses are in things that are general college requirements, and a third of your courses generally, this is roughly speaking, are elective courses that you can explore a broad range of other things. They believe in the value of broad education, of studying a broad range of things. A state college may have more limited requirements. And so they're different culturally. And part of your extension activity is going to be to research a school or two and begin to see what I mean by that. I could go into it, but it would take a while. So liberal arts colleges are great if you're undecided, or if you have a particular interest and really love faculty-student interaction and you really want to engage with your professors and you thrive with that kind of experience. It's a very positive place to have that experience. They're also often residential, and which means that they may require that you live on campus for a couple of years. Larger state colleges may not require that because they simply couldn't provide that for everyone. Finally, there's comprehensive universities, private universities. Someone just asked about Boston College. And Boston College is a college here in the Boston area. And that is more in the comprehensive university because of both their size and the range of academic offerings they have. Other examples of comprehensive private universities are things like Washington University, Syracuse universities. These tend to be distinguished because they have not only a College of Arts and Sciences or liberal studies, but a College of Engineering and a College of Business and a College of Public Health and so on. So they have whole colleges underneath the umbrella of a university. And it may require that you only take courses in the School of Business or the School of Education, and not really have the freedom to go take a business class if you feel like it. Whereas liberal arts colleges encourage that interdisciplinary study, and it's much easier to do that. So again, if you're really curious and you want to explore a broad range of things, or you're undecided, sometimes a liberal arts college could be a good match. If you're a little more clear that you want a broader range of people to meet, or a broader range of things to possibly study within a large university, you may want to look at a larger university. It just all depends on both the academic interests you have and the vibe you think you're going to thrive in. So I could go on about that, but let's see questions here. Is there a way to complete all necessary gen eds all at once, then focus on a more specialized area? What a great question, Isaac. Thank you for thinking so hard about this. Oh yes, I could talk on and on about this. General college requirements are a great way to explore a broad range of majors to see which one you like. I did that and found I loved history. And so I majored in history and am still a proud, happy history major. Other people explore and find things they hadn't ever dreamed of that they would love to study, like, oh gosh, I have a student who has discovered hospitality studies and so many other things. So gen eds often allow you to test out a lot of things, but also meet those gen ed requirements. Often though, general education requirements also go all the way up through your senior year. You may have to complete some your junior and your senior year because they want you to experience some of those things at a more advanced level as you get more advanced in your college experience. So great question though, Isaac. And Houston, so would I want to go to a liberal arts college if I want to major in, let's say, music? You very much could. I know places like BGSU, you got to tell me what BGSU is, are known for that. Berkeley's, no, I don't know which one that is, but I'm not sure if that would be liberal arts. It would all depend. A college like Berkeley School of Music is a conservatory, and that's a very specialized school, usually for some piece of the arts. I should list that in this. So Berkeley is a conservatory for modern music, not so much classical music. My stepson went there and majored in music, business, and percussion. So think about how fun that would be. But liberal arts colleges have some superb music programs that you can also study other things as well. If you go to Berkeley, you can't study so much a broad range of music or women's studies and things like that. I had just lost my resume share. My sharing has paused. There we go.
Hey,
Can you-
Leslie, this is Robin. We can
Yep.
see you. Everything is
You
sharing
can.
wonderfully. But now Melissa has a hand up. So I'm going to give Melissa permission to talk. Go ahead, Melissa.
Hi, can you hear me?
We
I
can.
Hello.
All right, great. Hello. So you briefly mentioned something called special programs. So could I get a little more elaboration on that? Thank you.
I'm going to get there in just a moment.
All right.
No question. And let me pull up my chat. All right. Oh, Bowling Green State. Thank you, Houston. All right. I'm going to carry on here. And what we don't get through today, we can certainly get through later. Hold on just a second here. Let me try and get Chrome back up. There we go. Okay, now I'm better. Okay, special programs, speaking of. So I've been talking about programs that support students who are both interested in and want to do the work that's required to get through a full degree program, whether it's an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and onward up to a master's and so on. Not all students like to do that kind of academic work, but would still, or they may also, that may not be playing to their strengths and their skill sets. Students who may be either have things like executive functioning challenges, or something like a traumatic brain injury that may impact their working memory, who may have an autism diagnosis, may benefit from some of these special programs. And so I want to highlight some of these. This is where the world of college has opened up in ways, in my 35 years of being in this field, are incredibly exciting, where one can enroll in a college experience, gain some of those soft benefits we talked about, but not have to do the full degree, which requires, in some cases, significant math, sometimes a world language, like at a liberal arts college. In many cases, you may have to study a world language or demonstrate skill in that, be able to write effectively long papers independently, long papers meaning like over 10 pages by yourself, and so on. And some of you might be going, oh my stars, I have to write a 10-page paper if I want to go to college. Yeah, and more. It's hard work. And sometimes we don't necessarily recognize or know what that is part of what college is. And so that's why we're here today, is to talk about that. So there are programs that work with students in all these categories. So programs like Think College, and I'm going to send you resources for all of this, help students identify college programs for students with intellectual disabilities who may want to have that college experience, but know that probably doing college level math may not be the right thing for them, or writing a paper independently, but they very much have a lot to contribute to a college experience. There's an Excel program at Bridgewater State. There's the Threshold program at Lesley University that are designed specifically to support students engaging in the college experience, but not have to do the full degree requirements that a college degree requires. They add diversity to the campus, and it can be a real win-win all the way around. Neurodivergence is a new word. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. It is sort of a broad term that captures things like ADHD, executive functioning challenges, and autism, all in a single word, even though there's great diversity within that population that identifies as that. Schools like Landmark College in Putney, Vermont, programs like Mansfield Hall and Burlington, Vermont, and Madison, Wisconsin, and Mitchell College's mainstream program and their Thames program, which is a transition to college program where you can kind of try it on for size, all are very well versed in supporting students with neurodivergence and understanding their needs for specific supports, specific environmental supports, problem solving, social engagement with their peers, and so on. So it's a really nice set of schools, and there's other programs out there as well. If that's an area you're interested in, I'm happy to reach out and chat with any of you to think about that. And then there's online programs that work really well for some students. I've seen students engage in Purdue Global, for example, who really are uncomfortable in person. Purdue Global is designed 100% online. So if you have strong tech skills, strong typing skills, and so on, but really, really, really it may not be a good match to be in person. Some of these programs are very well designed. They're very rigorous. They demand a lot of organization, but they may be worth considering. So I hope that answers some of your questions. I am looking at this as a possible, I'm going to cover two things in the remaining. No, I'm going to pause right there. And we're going to do the other things next time. I had a feeling I might reach this point. And we are going to remind you of where we're going to go next session. Next session, we're going to finish the rest of what College Match really means, and we're going to help you explore and determine if you are really ready for college, and if you maybe realize you're not, what you can do next. There's a lot of options, and one of the things I'm really committed to, as you may have sensed, is making sure you understand the range of stuff that's out there, the different kinds of timelines that you can put together that are going to meet your unique needs. And the message I want you to walk away today is each one of you is different. Each one of you has your unique set of skills, strengths, and areas that you can work on to meet whatever your post-high school goal is. Anyone else's timeline is their timeline. It's not your timeline. And I really want to empower you to think about your own needs and your own goals and how you can get them in due time. Our third class will explore a whole basket of questions about how do I choose a major, and how do I work with the disability service office, and what really is the difference between high school and college. And there's a whole lot to talk about in that third session. So what I want to do is prepare you now for our extension activity. You're going to get this in email from Robin shortly, but what I want you to do is take some of the big ideas about types of colleges that we've talked about, and I want you to begin to think about what your needs may be in terms of those types of colleges, the idea of location in a quiet neighborhood, in a busy city, with busy streets, with quiet streets, with transportation available, and so on. Size of a school. Do I like learning in nice, quiet, intimate groups, or do I like big lecture halls? We all have different learning desires and needs. Admission standards and admissibility, to Houston's question, we'll dig into that a little bit more. Think about what your grades are right now. Think about the level of courses that you're in. Think about how much you like writing or maybe not. Areas of study that you might be interested in. And so the sheet that tells you this extension activity will have all of these categories on it. So you can begin to think big, small, what business, finance, communications, and so on. And I'd like you to start writing out your answers just to, really get you thinking about, I hadn't thought about a quiet rural college versus a big urban college. And then I want you to select one college website. I've suggested Lewis and Clark College just because it's my alma mater and it's where Haben Gerbo went, and it's a small liberal arts college. Just to test it out, go explore what the general education requirements are to receive a degree from the college that you're exploring, and investigate one major.
Hello, everyone. It's Robin from the background. Leslie, you froze for a hot second.
Yep.
But it's okay. We got all that information.
Yep.
It will come in the email. You can stop sharing your screen.
Done.
Perfect. All right. So everyone, this was such an awesome session. We do have 2 more parts with Leslie. Please hear the date. The next session is Wednesday, May 11th. And then after that, Wednesday, May 25th. So there is a little bit of a gap. You will receive emails from APH that will constantly be reminding you that your session is coming up. So be on the lookout. Again, our next sessions are May 11th and May 25th. You will receive emails from APH that have the slide deck, the extension activities. You can also go back to the APH Virtual Excel Academy to get other information. This was awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I'm going to stop our recording.